Set your thermostat to the wrong number tonight, and you could be sabotaging your blood sugar before you even fall asleep. Most people assume that blood sugar control comes down entirely to what's on your plate during the day. But there is a specific window overnight when your body is uniquely equipped to clear excess sugar out of your bloodstream, and almost nobody is using it correctly. A geriatric specialist would tell you this window gets missed constantly, not because people aren't trying, but because nobody's ever explained how it actually works. Today, we're covering 4 tactics that can genuinely move your morning blood sugar reading 30 to 50 points, just by changing how you handle the hours between your last meal and the moment your head hits the pillow. The first one will probably surprise you because it has nothing to do with what you eat and everything to do with what you do right after. Let's start there. Tactic number 1 is deceptively simple. Take a 10-minute walk, 20 to 30 minutes after you finish your last meal of the day. Think of it like opening a side door for sugar to leave the bloodstream instead of making it wait in line at the front entrance. Here's the mechanism in plain terms. When you eat, glucose floods into your bloodstream quickly, and normally your body needs insulin to usher that sugar into your muscle cells for storage. But when your muscles contract during movement, they open up an entirely separate pathway, one that pulls glucose directly into the muscle without needing insulin at all. It's like your muscles suddenly grow their own private entrance for sugar, bypassing the usual insulin-controlled door completely. And this timing matters more than people realize because of what's happening later that night. While you sleep, your body shifts its priorities. Growth hormone rises, repair processes take over, and digestion and glucose management take a back seat. Your liver spends part of the night quietly restocking glycogen, which is really just glucose held in reserve inside your liver and muscles, the way a pantry holds food for later. If you blunt that post-meal glucose spike with a short walk, you're handing your liver a much easier job to do while it's busy with that overnight restocking. And this is exactly why the timing of your carbohydrates matters just as much as the walk itself. Loading up on a heavy carbohydrate dinner and then sitting on the couch afterward is one of the most reliable ways to put your liver behind before the night has even started. If you're someone who genuinely craves carbohydrates, and let's be honest, most of us do sometimes, lunch is a far smarter window for them than dinner, especially if you tend to be active in the afternoon or evening. Dinner, by contrast, is usually the meal with the least built-in movement afterward, which makes it the worst possible meal to load up on carbs. So, the fix is straightforward. Aim for a smaller, lighter carb dinner, and follow it with that 10-minute walk in the first 20 to 30 minutes after you finish eating. Now here's tactic number 2, and this is the one almost nobody has heard of. It involves something as simple as the temperature of your bedroom. Sleeping in a cooler room does more than help you sleep better. It actually nudges your metabolism into working slightly harder in the background. Cooler ambient temperature during sleep activates a modest but measurable increase in brown fat activity, which is the type of fat tissue that burns glucose specifically to generate heat. Research has found that sleeping in a room around 66 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit, compared to a warmer room in the mid-70s, was linked to improved overnight glucose metabolism and better insulin sensitivity the following morning. Picture your body as a furnace that has to work a little harder to keep the house warm. That extra work quietly burns through glucose while your liver is simultaneously restocking glycogen in the background. And the beauty of this tactic is that it's completely passive. You don't have to wake up, exercise, or change a single thing about your diet. You simply set the thermostat a few degrees lower about an hour before bed and let your body do the rest. That's what to avoid and what to add when it comes to movement and temperature. Now let's talk about what actually flushes the sugar out directly, starting with something almost everyone underestimates: hydration. Most people already know hydration matters for blood sugar, but very few understand the timing behind it. Your kidneys are one of the body's primary routes for eliminating excess glucose, not simply regulating it, and they can only clear so much sugar per unit of urine based on basic osmotic limits. Think of it like a filter that can only process so much liquid per hour, no matter how much you pour through it. If you're dehydrated, your kidneys physically cannot flush out as much excess glucose, regardless of how well everything else in your body is functioning. That means staying well hydrated throughout the day is a genuine physiological mechanism for helping your body eliminate excess blood sugar, not just a wellness talking point. But timing changes everything here. If you try to cram all your hydration in late in the evening to make up for a dehydrated day, you're very likely to wake up multiple times overnight to urinate. And that sleep disruption alone can worsen blood sugar control the next day, which creates the exact problem you were trying to solve in the first place. The fix is to front-load your hydration earlier in the day, aiming to have most of it done by roughly 2 hours before bedtime. Try to get the bulk of your water in from the moment you wake up through the middle of the afternoon. It might feel like an adjustment at first, but this single shift alone can noticeably improve your morning blood sugar readings. Now for tactic number 4, something that's been repeatedly tested in human research, yet almost nobody uses at the right time of day: apple cider vinegar. Taken shortly before your last meal or shortly before bed, apple cider vinegar has been shown across multiple controlled trials to meaningfully lower fasting glucose the following morning, and it works through 2 separate pathways. First, the acetic acid slows gastric emptying, which blunts how quickly glucose from your last meal enters your bloodstream, again giving your liver a gentler glucose load to manage during its overnight restocking process. Second, acetic acid appears to directly improve insulin sensitivity at the cellular level, meaning the insulin your body does release can clear glucose from the blood more efficiently, instead of letting it linger in circulation longer than necessary. In practice, this means taking 1 to 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar diluted in about 8 ounces of water, either with or shortly before your last meal of the day. Dilution matters here. Apple cider vinegar is acidic enough on its own to damage tooth enamel and irritate the esophagus over time, so never take it undiluted. Before we wrap up, a word for anyone already on medication for blood sugar management, because a lot of people watching this are wondering how these habits fit alongside what they're already taking. Certain medications in a class known as SGLT2 inhibitors work by forcing the kidneys to flush excess sugar out through urine once blood sugar crosses a certain threshold. That's a real and legitimate mechanism, and for many people these medications are necessary and appropriate. But it's worth being honest about something. Having a medication do that flushing for you is very different from your own body doing it through the mechanisms we just walked through. If you're relying entirely on medication without building the habits underneath it, you may be working against yourself, and in some cases, it can make things harder over time rather than easier. These 4 tactics are meant to come first, used alongside medication where it's needed, not instead of it. Consider one woman in her early 70s, someone managing blood sugar concerns for years, who found that these kinds of small overnight adjustments made a noticeable difference in her morning readings within a matter of weeks, proof that the body still responds well to the right conditions, even later in life. If any of this was helpful, consider following along for more of this kind of practical, evidence-informed information, and feel free to share your own experience in the comments. It genuinely helps others find this. And as always, talk to your own doctor before making any changes to your medication, diet, or routine.